The New England Patriots have really been in search of a target for Tom Brady since the end of last season. They've been in search for a receiver, they've been in search for a talent at tight end, anything really to take this offense over the top. Really, since Rob Gronkowski's retirement, they've been searching for that weapon that can help Tom Brady. Because outside of Julian Edelman, they haven't really had that weapon that has complemented both Edelman, their running game, Tom Brady, and has perfectly fit this offense. So the Patriots, of course, near the trade deadline, they're always active. They're always looking to add players to help out the deficiencies on their roster. Bill Belichick is the smartest GM in football, while also being the best coach in football, which means that he's always going to find the best talent to fit his scheme. And they called for O.J. Howard. There were rumors about potentially Emmanuel Sanders. They trade for a receiver in that mold, Mohamed Sanu of the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons, they send Sanu for a second-round pick to the Patriots. Of course, we knew that Atlanta was probably going to be a seller at the deadline because they only have one win on the season, and now it appears that Matt Ryan is injured or at least banged up, so that's going to hurt them down the road of this season. They're not really in playoff contention this year, and they're really in a disappointing situation, which I'll get more to that at the end of this video in terms of how this looks for Atlanta. But for the Patriots, this was the perfect move. Mohamed Sanu is perfect for this offense. Of course, when you look at what the Patriots have needed, I just think they've needed another receiver. I don't think he's really needed to be Antonio Brown, which they tried that circus, that clown show already, and it didn't really work out. They didn't really need an Antonio Brown. With Antonio Brown, it would have been special, but of course they don't have him. So what do? They go out and they find a receiver that can fit this offense. And what do I mean by fit this offense? Well, in Mohamed Sanu brings the Patriots offense a veteran receiver who in his past, you may know, was a quarterback. So why is this even something I'm bringing up right off the top? Well, the Patriots seem to value those type of receivers a ton. Obviously, they have Julian Edelman, and they also have Jacoby Myers. I don't know if this is a coincidence, but both of those guys were former quarterbacks. Why is that important? Because these three receivers now, with Sanu in the mix, have an ability as former quarterbacks to be able to basically take in an entire offense very easily. They're very intelligent for wide receivers, and they understand the scope of an entire offense. They also usually are unselfish and players that will fit within the Patriots' scope of their franchise and the Patriot way, so to speak. When you look at what Mohamed Sanu does very well as a receiver, he's an excellent route runner, specifically in the short and intermediate range of the field, which is what Tom Brady is really good at. That's Tom Brady's excel point. That's what the Patriots offense has always done in an elite level under Josh McDaniels, is those short throws over the middle of the field in the short to intermediate range. They'll hit you occasionally down the field, but it's usually Edelman over the middle, James White over the middle, Amendola over the middle, Welker over the middle, Gronk over the middle. Usually it's the middle of the field between the hashes. Mohamed Sanu has been primarily a slot receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, but he can also line up on the outside, which we've seen him do in Atlanta. We saw him do in Cincinnati as well, and he's excelled in both of those locations in different type of offenses. Mohamed Sanu is also not just a good route runner, not just a receiver that can play on outside or inside, but I also feel like he's a player that brings even more versatility in the fact that, again, he was a former quarterback, and he's also run different wildcat sort of things. You can definitely give him like some of these jet motion type plays that they've been doing, these jet sweeps with Julian Edelman. You can throw him into the mix with that. He can throw the ball like 70 plus yards. He's a wildcat type of player that Atlanta has used in different type of ways in the past. So if you want to use him in that way, which I'm not sure if the Patriots will or not, they can definitely use him in that way. And then he's stronger than you would think. He's good with contact. He's very good at kind of separating from coverage, which I think is something the Patriots have needed. Really, I think Edelman is the only receiver that's consistently gets separation in his routes. Josh Gordon, at this point in his career, has not really shown a good amount of ability to separate from coverage with quickness or route running. He's more of a physical receiver who can go up and get it, or can make a fantastic catch, or just body his way into making a catch, while Sanu is more in the role of an Edelman, where he is a bigger bodied guy and he is strong, where I think that really comes into play when he's after the catch and he's able to break tackles and move and be able to, be elusive in open field. So he's good with yards after catch, which is huge for the Patriots offense, but he's a really crafty route runner and is able to separate from corners and get open more so than just make catches with coverage around him, like a guy like Gordon. So that's what I really like about Sanu, which is what I also liked about potentially getting Emmanuel Sanders, is I felt like they needed a guy that could separate. And I think Sanu can do that in different parts of the field. And now what this allows you to do as an offense, if you're McDaniels, and from a scheme perspective, is this allows you to really set up your offense in a different sort of way. This allows your receivers or your depth chart to look a little bit differently. So you have Edelman, who can be that slot guy. He does play on the outside quite a bit as well, especially in two receiver sets. But now you can play Gordon on the outside, where you really never have to move him into the inside if you don't want to. N'Keal Harry is coming back, who's primarily an outside big-bodied receiver, first-round pick. But you can move him in the inside. He has versatility there. So you have multiple players that can move inside or outside. And you also have Philip Dorsett, who's shown an ability to be mostly on the outside, but also on the inside, and has some speed as well to his game. And, of course, Jacoby Myers, who does both. So all of your receivers have the flexibility and have the versatility to line up anywhere in your offense, which I think just gives that extra depth, that extra little bit of formation usage and versatility that I think is going to help the Patriots, especially if James Devlin is not able to come back to this team with an injury to that fullback position that kind of takes away from some of the special quality of what McDaniels can do with the formations and with the different matchups and playmakers. Now with Sanu, another really talented receiver who can line up inside or outside, you can dictate matchups a little bit better with another receiver there. So I think that adds another layer, another element to the Patriot offense. And then when you look at it, it's not like this is only just a one-year thing. This is not just a rental. The Patriots are getting a player that they could potentially have for 2 seasons. So this season, he's only at $3.5 million, a $3.7 million cap hit overall, which I don't think is bad at all for a receiver of his quality, as the last 2 seasons he's made $7 million. Obviously, the Atlanta's paying for part or most of that. I don't exactly know how that works. I'm not Adam Schefter, but $3.7 million on the season for a cap hit. That's definitely fitting into what the Patriots scheme of things from their cap perspective. And then next season, he's going to be around as well if you want him back. He's going to be scheduled to make $6.5 million, which I don't think is a backbreaker at all whatsoever. Again, he made 7.5 last year, and actually he does not have a bonus for next year. So it's 6.5, and you can bring him back for 6.5, or you can just straight up release him if you don't want him, and he won't cost you a penny. So from a Patriot perspective, you could have a really talented guy or a good receiver that fits your offense for for the end of this season for a playoff run, and then potentially also next season for maybe another playoff run, or whatever you want to do there with this 30-year-old receiver who's going to be 31. So you could potentially have him for the end of his prime, 30-31 for Mohamed Sanu. I think this is awesome for both teams also because, as I mentioned before, Atlanta, they're in rebuilding mode. They wanted a pick, and they got a second-round pick. And I understand that Mohamed Sanu is a good player and has been a good player for Atlanta, but I think it's well worth the trade for Atlanta to get a second-round pick, a pretty good pick for a 30-year-old receiver who has 2 years left on his contract, doesn't cost you a lot of money to trade, and you're getting a second-round pick to, in my opinion, restart a rebuild or at least a retooling. And probably this is going to be a retooling or a rebuild with a new head coach who's going to have new philosophies. He's going to have new ways. And now you're just adding more ammunition to the picks that you have to help that head coach or help that new regime go after it and retool this football team. And it's not like you're really lacking for talent at this position. You still have Ridley, who's young and on a rookie contract. You still have Julio Jones, and you're looking to re-sign Austin Hooper. So you have those three key elements to your offense, your passing attack. So Mohamed Sanu leaving, while he is a talented player, and it will hurt you in some perspectives, he's not going to be the end of things at the end of the day. So overall, Sanu, I think, excellent trade for the Patriots. Very valuable move for Atlanta moving forward. So those are my thoughts on this Mohamed Sanu move. What do you guys think of this move? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you love it from the Patriot perspective? Do you love it from an Atlanta perspective? Do you think this was a fair trade? Do you think the Patriots won it? Do you think Atlanta won it? Do you sway either way? Let me know in the comment section below. And also, subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more NFL analysis just like this. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's been Mitch of The Bottom Line View. Peace out.